Board game rules that I dislike. We're going to explore two of them, and I've been pushing this up to the board game playlist. We were looking at some different rules. This idea of a board game being a simulation of sorts through the components, through the cards, through the artwork. It's pulling you in to something where it engages you in an analog type way. But it also supports the interaction of other players. And that's not to say we can't solo board games, but sharing that experience with other players. And that might be a cooperative game where you're all on the same team, all playing together. It could be an overlord type system where one player controls the monsters, the dungeon, the overlord, and the other players play the roles of a hero going against it, one versus many. Hero Quest is a great example of that. Or it could be you're kind of out for yourself and building your realm, right? A game where it's everyone fighting for themselves. Could be something as classic as Catan, or even a little bit more modern, like Game of Thrones. Although I guess at this point, that might be even considered a classic. But where there is one winner at the end of the day. So within that, there are certain rules that I feel just, they take away from that experience. They kind of break the immersion, or they pull you out of the narrative of the game. And I wanted to share two of them. The rules that I don't necessarily really like, but we're talking about the idea of rules and critiquing rules and exploring it. Now, this first rule, of course, the irony being, if you've been following my channel for every amount of time, you know that I love Talisman, the board game. I get a lot of plays out of it. We've got a big Talisman group. A couple of times a year we get together, bragging rights, winner take all expansions included, 4th edition. And just, it's an epic game. So it's a little ironic that one of the rules that I dislike the most is in one of my favorite games. Both can be true. I love the game. I hate the rule. Anytime there's an effect that forces you to lose a turn, I don't like that. I think that's a poor rule. And the reason why I say that is, first thing it does is it breaks immersion, right? I'm pulling myself into the game. It's my turn to go. I go. In that moment, as the other players go, whether it's a competitive game or we're all working together as a team, I'm watching what they do and I'm enjoying it. But at the same time, I'm creating my next kind of move tactics. I'm thinking, okay, let's do this, let's do that, let's go here, what I'm going to do with my character. And I never king make. I never direct another player how to play their kingdom, character, army, whatever that's going to be. But I'm calculating, I'm thinking, I'm planning. When it comes to my turn, miss a turn, okay, I do nothing. That pulls you out of the immersion. It's like, well, I might as well just step back because I miss a turn. If it's a competitive game, right, like Talisman or Winner Takes All, we're battling for the realm. If it's something that regularly happens, then at some point, it's going to pile up. I miss one turn, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Over the course of a game, say I miss 10 turns because of some effect, then if we're pulling ahead, other players are going to get so far ahead of me in terms of tactics, I'm never going to be able to catch up. I'm going to be knocked out of the game. And I'm getting knocked out not because I made poor choices. I've done that lots of times where we get to mid and end game and it's clear I'm not going to win. I'm going to go down fighting, and it's clear I'm going to get knocked out. And I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have been so aggressive turn one attacking, which gave everybody a chance to unite against me. Just, it was easy to do. It was easy to do. There are times where, for Tabletop Glory, right, Conquest of the Empire, playing that type of game, you make mistakes. Well, okay, if I get knocked out, I made those mistakes. But to lose a turn, to miss a turn, and not have any agency, I don't like that for effects, right? And effects in a game, that's when like something happens and it causes a condition. Maybe I get hit by paralysis and I miss a turn if I'm exploring the dungeon. Maybe I open a trap and I fall into a pit and I miss a turn. Maybe something happens where spies disrupt my trade network, miss a turn. Don't miss a turn. Come up with something where I'm penalized for it because there's an effect, but still give me some action, still give me some agency. An example would be like if I can do 3 actions a turn and I get to pick, right? Move, engage, or operate and search. If I can get 3 actions a turn, and I can get a combo of those. If I get paralyzed or I get hit by something or I fall into a pit, then maybe I only get 2 actions a turn, or it affects my movement in some way. Don't make me miss a turn, but certainly penalize me, but not so much that it takes me out of the game by adding up and up and up and up. The second effect that I don't like is conditions that you have to track and manage forever. It's helpful when, and these conditions might be poison, they might be freeze, they might be bleed, they might be invisibility or lack of invisibility. Something happens in the game and I get a condition. I get poisoned. It's helpful if I have a way to track that, put a little token or a marker so I can remember and the other players can remember. But when a condition hits you and it just sticks with you until something happens, again, that's excessive punishment over numerous turns, but at the same time, it's like another thing to track. I've got like 4 or 5 conditions to track. And I understand what game designers are doing. In the case of a classic dungeon crawler, if you have something mete out damage, well, that's obvious, but then you'll have sub-damage where it goes into frost, poison, paralysis, blindness, whatever that's going to be. So it tacks on some tactics. It tacks on some variety. Like I'm fighting these monsters and they might poison me. I'm fighting these monsters and they might blind me for a number of turns. It helps with the immersion and some flavor, but to have permanent effects, that's just way too much to track over time and it's just too punishing. Again, how about it be 1 turn? Or how about it affects you until you take your next action? So if I get poisoned, I'm weakened, -1 to attack next time I attack on the dice, or cancel out one of my successes on the dice. I put that token there. The next time I make that action, I apply the penalty, and then we move on. Something a little bit simplified that doesn't carry. Those 2 rules, I think, are great examples of rules that I really don't like as game design because it pulls you from the immersion. It pulls you away. It knocks you out. Better to penalize you. Yes, absolutely. But have it be something that's quick, done, and doesn't take you out from the game because these little things over time really, really add up. If we're talking 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 game turns to complete the end of the game, eventually with a lot of modifiers or missed turns or these things that pull you out of the game without allowing you to make a choice, it's going to get to the point where you're just too far behind. And some players, things shift when you begin to know that, and you're like, still really not into the game. I always play it to the end, absolutely, but I'm really not into the game because, look, no matter what I do, I'm not being defeatist. No matter what I do, I can't win because I've missed way too many turns. An adjustment, I think, is very, very important. All right, turning it over to my fellow board game enthusiasts. We're going to follow up here and post a couple of other board game rules that I really don't like. And again, it's not a criticism. I get what they're trying to do, what they're trying to implement, but I think there's certain ways to implement it better than others. But in the comments, my fellow board game enthusiasts, rules that break that immersion or rules that you don't like or rules that you think are too punishing in a board game.